Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. In this video, we're going to load a 5 pellet triple aught buck load in 3-inch 410. This is true 36 caliber. Triple aught buck is a very good size in 410. It actually fits this wad right here, which is the Claybuster clone of the original Winchester AA 410 wad. It actually fits in these really well, and it patterns pretty good at 30 yards. Anything past 30 yards, the pattern kind of starts to fall apart, but if you're using a full choke, 30 yards is good to go. 4 of these pellets actually go in the wad. You have to use a little bit of fiber cushion in the bottom of the wad actually to bring up stack height, and that also eliminates the bottom of the wad from being blown out by the buckshot. Just like a TPS wad or any other steel shot wad in 12 gauge, you have to put something in the bottom of it to stop it from being blown out. Now, I just want to say before I start loading this, I am using little gunpowder, and this load is right underneath 7/8 ounce. It's actually right in between 7/8 and 3/4 ounce. It's 0.82 on the scale. Now, little gun only goes up to 3/4 ounce. However, me and Josh have shot a lot of these loads like this, 5 pellet, triple aught, 36 cal, and never had an issue. The primers don't even show, any kind of deformation, nothing like that. They look good. The shells look good. But there is no load data for this. H110 would be a much better powder for this load, but I don't have any H110, so this is a load me and Josh worked up and that we like. It's only moving 950 to 1000 FPS though, so take that into consideration. Okay, so to start this off, we need to deprime and resize this. It's a once fired Remington 3-inch hole. I have a mech resize ring. Guys, I'm using a 3D printed kit to do this. It's from 3D Reloading and More here on YouTube. It's all one word, but it's for the reload all. It actually works pretty good. I forgot you actually need something solid to set this on. This was supposed to be a 32 gauge resize ring from Russia, but when I got it, the hole's too small for 32 gauge. But it's also too big for 410, as you can see. Rim just falls right through, but that's what I've been using to give me a solid surface to resize on. We are resized. Now to get the ring back off, what I do is I have a 20 gauge reload all resize ring right here in front of the press. I have a socket extension. I drop that down inside the hole and put it right here in front of the press, and I use the bottom part of the upper section of it, if I can get it lined up right, to push the hull out. Just like that. The ring is off, we are resized, but the primer is still in it. And to get that out, well, I just use the press to do that. Sometimes these 410 holes want to fall in down, the hole the primers fall through, but luckily it didn't happen that time. Winchester 209. Drop it right in the hole the primers go. This is the piece that you use to reprime your shells. It goes down inside the hole and reprime like any other, shell. Just like that. We need 10 grains of Hodgdon little gunpowder, and no, we have not tested anything higher than 10 grains with this load because it performs pretty well with the 10 grain charge. Again, it's only moving about 950 to 1000 FPS. And that's really all you need at 30 yards. So once you have your powder in place, you need the Claybuster AA 410 wad or an actual Winchester wad. Set that right down inside there, and using Gary Caskey's wad tamper to seat that. If you want any of Gary's tools, facebook.com/gary.d.caskey, C-A-S-K-E-Y. He makes wad slitters, wad trimmers, hull trimmers, wad nudgers. I call them tampers, but he makes wad nudgers, all kinds of good stuff. So if you want any of Gary's stuff, go check him out on Facebook. Now we need some fiber cushion wad, and guys, it does not take much with 410. Just drop it in there and use the wad tamper, or anything really, it'll fit, to make it flat. And there's no way you can see this, but it is flat in there. Now we need 5 pellets of 36 caliber triple aught buck, and these are tumbled and polished, hard cast out of wheel weight alloy. And guys, these have a nice tight fit inside the wad, so no need for buffer aside from the top pellet. Again, 4 fit in the wad, and it's a tight fit. The top one is outside the wad. Add a little bit of buffer to it to keep it center, and that'll help with it being a flyer. Although, typically, it's still a flyer. Not a bad flyer though, but the buffer helps is what I'm trying to say. Alright guys, we have our 5 pellets in, plus the buffer around the top pellet. Now we need a little bit more fiber cushion wad right on top of that to stop the buffer from coming out, and it'll also build up stack height exactly where it needs to be. When I'm loading 410 buckshot, I typically put a little bit of fiber cushion wad over the top pellet. Again, that's to stop buffer from leaking out because, well, the way that these crimp, it doesn't always come out perfect. Sometimes you get a little bit of concave, and that's due to, like any gauge, the stack height not being just right. But if that happens, that fiber cushion wad is there to stop that. This kit does come with a crimp starter. Typically when I'm using these, I like to use mech crimp starters, but I don't have one for 410. Just using this, and it does work. This actually is supposed to go in the pre-crimp tube, just like that, and we have the crimp started. Here's the final crimp tube. Slide it on there, just like that. Again, pre-crimp tube. You can also use the final crimp. It don't really matter, but ideally you want the crimp all the way closed, but sometimes they just won't do it. I don't know why, but it's just how it is. This de-priming punch is kind of getting in my way a little bit. Probably should have used my other press. I'm just going to take this off real quick. I cannot get to it like I need to. Alright, problem solved. Should be able to get to it now. Add a little bit more. Alright, looking good. Line it up just right. And here's how the crimp looks. It's not the best in the world, but it's also far from the worst. I'm trying to get some good lighting on it, and well, it's just not working out. I think you can see it there. It's not bad. And if you look closely, it is also nicely tapered. It actually crimps Federal once fired hulls a lot better than the Remingtons. The plastic on these is just, I guess, a little bit sturdier. I don't know. I think it just comes down to the Federals have harder, more sturdy plastic than the Remingtons do. Those Remingtons, plastic on them is a little bit soft, malleable. A lot of you guys were asking for some 410 buckshot loads. Well, there you go. Loading 410's pretty fun, shooting it's pretty fun, but we prefer bigger gauges. And this kit that 3D Reloading and More makes, well, the 410 one is a little bit hard to use, but once you get the hang of it, it works just fine. His other kits, 28 and 10 gauge, they work a whole lot better and faster too. He made me one for 24 and 32 gauge, and those seem to work okay, but the 410 one, depending on haul, it can be a little bit difficult to use, but I do like it. And it's not so much the kit that's difficult to use, it's how small the 410 shell is. That little thing is just hard to work with. Even on a actual like mech press, people still complain 410's hard to load. But anyway guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. And if you want to, go check out our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month. You guys get early access to content. A link to that, along with a link to our Instagram and Rumble accounts, will be in the description below. But other than that, you guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next one.